Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Talk Tottenham here with your host Tom, giving you guys match reaction from yesterday's vital and important 3-1 win at home to Bournemouth as Spurs rounded off 2023 in style. So brilliant victory for Spurs. Before we go into that, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. And I hope everyone enjoyed their New Year's Eve celebrations last night. For me, it was made all the better with Spurs getting those 3 points and also seeing the old enemy Arsenal lose 2-1 away at Fulham as well. That absolutely made my new year. I don't know about you fellow Spurs fans as well. I'm sure it did. So, yeah, let's just dive straight into it, shall we? Let's look at the game yesterday. I was a little bit apprehensive, I think, coming into it with Bournemouth's form and the fact how well they've been playing at the moment. But I thought it was a really professional performance. I thought Spurs in that first half, we created lots of opportunities, and there's some really good goals in there as well. Pat Matasar, I'm absolutely delighted to see that today he signed a new contract at Spurs. He's been great this season. For me, he's been our best midfielder this season. He's been the most consistent. He seems to give Spurs, for me, he seems to give us something different when he plays. When he plays well, I feel like the whole team plays well. So it was, yeah, and you can see that there's goals in him as well. Like he can add that. If he can add more goals to his game, I think that he's definitely got that in his locker. And I thought it was a really smart finish. Nice driving run from midfield that he can do. We've seen that before this season, driving us up the pitch. Just interestingly, just on the starting lineup, guys, he did go with Emerson. Actually, in the back four, I was wondering whether or not he was going to put Eric Dyer in, but as it turns out, Emerson and Ben Davies played really well yesterday, and so yeah, no way back for Dyer, it seems. If Emerson is getting the nod in at centre back. The rest of the lineup, though, I think was... Well, no, it wasn't, of course, was it? Because we saw the return to action from Rodrigo Bentancur, when got the shock of my life, to be honest, when I was checking the lineup before the game and seen Bentancur starting. I was absolutely delighted, to see that, as I'm sure all the Spurs fans were. I initially thought he wasn't going to be back until sort of midway through the month or even at the end of the month, but I think Spurs have done a really good job there to hide that and to keep that one quiet. You could just see Bentancur. I know he only played the hour, but you could just see that touch of class. He just kind of knows when to hang on to the ball, when to give it. He's very just comfortable, isn't he, with the ball at his feet. It's quite nice to see him and Lo Celso, I think, in the same lineup with those two South Americans. Fairly similar ways of playing, ball playing midfielders. It's nice to have that option. And Rodrigo Bentancur is definitely, for me, when he's fit, he's definitely making that first 11. It'd be interesting to see when we do have a full clean bill of health and everyone available. It'd be interesting to see the midfield that Ange goes with, because if Bentancur plays, and then obviously when Maddison comes back, you'd also have Sarr available, Basuma, and then you're not even then, and then you've obviously potentially got Lo Celso, and then you're not even really thinking about the likes of Skippy, Højbjerg. So we've got options. We've got options when everyone comes back, which is important. So the rest of the team was yesterday, wasn't it? He played He played Vicario in goal with Porro, Emerson, um, Davis, Udogi, Rodrigo Bentancur partnered Pat Matassar, and then we saw Brennan Johnson, Giovanni Lo Celso, and Sonny was out playing out left again, so he did go with Richie through the middle. I was wondering if they might mix that up and play Sonny through the middle, but he didn't, and it worked again. Both of them getting on the score sheet. Incidentally, I'm quite pleased that I got my pre-match prediction spot on this week, 3-1. I said in the pre-matcher. Delighted when that comes through. more for personal kind of pride more than anything. But yeah, pleased I got my prediction correct. I just think that the really pleasing thing as the year comes to a close is just the way that we're attacking. It's such a different sort of story to last season, where Spurs would sometimes defend quite well, but clearly we were always playing on the break or counter-attacking, and it felt like it was a real struggle to put any kind of sequences or passing moves together. Whereas this season, I'm really comfortable that Spurs are going to carve out a lot of chances in matches, and that in the final third it always looks like that we've got a goal in us in a game. On the flip side, it does always look like we're going to concede at least one in a game, and so it proved yesterday. And usually what seems to happen with Spurs, I've noticed, is we'd sometimes get a little bit complacent towards the end of the game, where maybe we're 2 or 3 ahead, and we just let a team back in with like a consolation. It happened against Newcastle. We saw late goals, obviously, against Wolves. Obviously West Ham came back, didn't they? And so we know that Spurs this season, we've always done well getting like the first goal in a game. The Brighton game was the only game, I think, for a hell of a long time that Spurs haven't scored first. But as we proved in the Brighton game, we showed a really, really good fight back in that last 10 minutes to score 2 consolation goals. But it was really, really good to see that we kept that momentum going in the Bournemouth game. Some really, really nice goals as well. After Pat Matassar, we saw second half goals from Sonny, which was a really, really well taken finish. And then Richarlison again scoring. So that's 5 and 5 now for Richarlison, and absolutely delighted for him. This is a purple patch he's going through at the moment, and he's proving that there is life. There is still life in him. I did see that chance that he snatched at. Was that in the second half? Yeah, it was in the second half. It was when Sonny played through that delightful through ball to him, and he's just really, really snatched at that chance with his left foot. And if only he'd just taken a touch, he could have got his head up and slotted that in. But just Richie's a little bit like that sometimes, isn't he? He's snatching at his runs, snatching at shots. But he took his goal really, really well. Really, really similar goal to the goal he scored against Everton recently. And actually, I think it was Brennan Johnson in that game as well who's played it across. I'm not quite sure how many assists Johnson's got this season. If anyone knows, do let me know in the comments. But for me, he's up to about 5 or 6 already, and which is really, really pleasing to see. That's why we signed him. We signed him on that right-hand side so he could get at his defender and be playing. And those crosses, that always seem to be similar kind of low fizzing crosses into the near post, and Richarlison is really, really good at that actually, and getting beyond his mark or finding space. And it was a similar finish down to the keeper's left. So that's really, really pleasing. Those two seem to be linking up really, really well. And what I thought was really, really pleasing in yesterday's game as well is that we didn't seem to miss Decky. We didn't seem to miss Kulu in that game. And I was a little bit worried before, to be honest, not having him. So, look, we're beating teams banging form like Bournemouth without Maddison, without Van de Ven, without Kulusevski, without Romero, you know, let's be, it's quite frightening to think what this team is capable of doing when we've got all of those players back. For me, that is what really, really is making me feel very excited at the moment. Is, you know, we look towards 2024. Hopefully, Mickey Van de Ven's going to be back for the Manchester United game in our next league game. Maddison shouldn't be too far behind, and then, yeah, also with Romero, that, you know, hopefully he can get a speedy recovery. So hopefully it shouldn't be too long before we're really able to field a really, really good team. And of course, as well, if Spurs do beat Burnley in the FA Cup third round, the fourth round will probably be sandwiched somewhere between, I'd imagine, that Manchester United game and the next league game. So, you know, let's hope that Spurs do get through to the fourth round, because then that will give the players time to get back. And, you know, obviously I want us to go far in the FA Cup this season. I really want us to take that seriously. But as we all know, it's our league form that is making us really, really excited at the moment. And, you know, that's 4 wins now in 5, with, you know, the Brighton defeat, obviously the only defeat out of that. Before then, we know that we went through that really rocky patch, but then, you know, we had that absolutely blistering start to the season. You know, it just feels like at the moment Tottenham are just, you know, we're on the cusp of another wave, and that Manchester United game is going to be very, very big now for us. And what I would say is we have nothing to fear whatsoever going there. We've got a terrible record, really. I mean, over the years, seeing Spurs go there, I mean, can't think of too many wins apart from the last few years. I remember going back to Harry Redknapp's days, actually. I remember Bale and Clint Dempsey and Jan Vertonghen scoring in I think it was a 3-2 win back in, it must have been around 2012, maybe 2013, so a hell of a long time ago now. But that was when we finally got the monkey off our back with that first win there. But there have been a couple of others. I remember obviously Lucas Moura's hat-trick, I think he scored a brace and Harry scored one. That was maybe Poch's time. So, you know, we can do it, and we're going to this game with a lot of confidence. But, you know, we've got a few days now to rest before that Burnley game, Friday night, FA Cup third round. Be interesting to see what Ange goes with regards to his lineup. Will he, you know, will the likes of, are we going to see a couple of youngsters play? Would Dyer maybe get a look in? I expect probably Brian Hill to maybe get a game, maybe Skippy to come in as well. But, you know, let's not forget we're still playing Premier League opposition on Friday, and Burnley seem like they've kind of turned a little bit of a corner in recent weeks. They got that 2-0 win at Fulham, so we can't take that game lightly. But I do expect probably a couple of changes to that to the lineup. Ange will give players minutes who need minutes. Incidentally, really, really unfortunate to see Valise come off injured towards the end of that game. Absolutely devastated he was coming off in that game, and that's just a huge shame, because it's something seems to have started to click with him in the last couple of games. Obviously scoring against Brighton, just something he felt like he was getting a little bit of confidence, and I think he would have maybe have got more minutes against Burnley, but, you know, such is life, that it looks like he's picked up a nasty injury. So with Sarr's injury, he went off, I think, in the second half. Luckily, he doesn't seem so bad, but whether or not he's going to be available for the Burnley game, or probably won't be available for the Man United game, but that AFCON tournament will start fairly soon, so we're going to be missing Sarr, Basuma, Sonny will be off as well. So, you know, we're going to have to juggle, and we're going to have to be using this squad the maximum like we've been doing in the last few games. So I'll leave it there, guys. I'll put out a pre-matcher before the Burnley game, probably around Wednesday or Thursday. I'm really looking forward to that game, by the way. You know, Friday night, I think Spurs are going to be on TV, 8 o'clock, under the lights at the stadium. Let's see if we can go deep into that tournament. It would be great to see Spurs pushing at the top of the league and going far in the FA Cup this season. We can only dream of the double, guys, at this stage, but I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it, but you know, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? I think let's just take one game at a time at the moment. Next game's Burnley. After that, it's Manchester United, and yeah, let's just keep this fire burning, guys. And you know, again, thank you very much for the support. Really enjoying doing this for you guys, and the support that I'm getting. Plans to make the channel bigger and better this year, and you know, thank you for watching these videos. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel and like the content, and as always, come on you Spurs.